Okay, well, I'm really pleased to be speaking to Geoff Francis. Geoff, I've got here that you are a Saatchi shortlisted artist, an award-winning photographer, a writer, and a lyricist. Today, what I'm particularly interested in is one of my real loves is the Isle of Wight Festival and the history of the Isle of Wight Festival. And when I've been researching it over the years, eventually I came across the 1990 festival, and there was very little written about this. And then through a series of things, I've discovered that you were involved in it. So I thought it'd be great to have a chat with you. So could you just start off by telling me what you were doing in 1990? Where were you?
Yeah, I was living in Ryde and I was running an organisation for Linda McCartney, Carla Lane, and Rita Tushingham called Animal Line.
Hmm.
And uh, what happened was that I'd moved to the island in '86 and set up, I'd bought London House in Queen's Road, and I set up a series of shops for people in there. Um, and one day, a guy called Brian Hinton came in, still involved with Dimbola.
Yes, yeah, he had the bookshop in Debola, maybe? Was that what he was involved with?
Well, he's very much has very much been the man
Right.
in there, but he was involved with the Council for the Arts for the island. Now he came in one day. He's a real vinyl freak, and amongst other things, real music freak. He's the man who sorted out the Jimi Hendrix statue
Yeah.
outside Dimbola. And he came in and he'd found my name in a fanzine working with Country Joe McDonald. And he came in and asked me, uh, or told me that the Council for the Arts were interested in putting up a new festival, very much orientated towards the 20th anniversary of the Jimi Hendrix
Yeah.
Festival.
The Afton Festival.
Yeah, and he wanted someone to organise it. Um, and I had the time scale was 8 weeks.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Pretty
Okay.
short. Because now,
There's
because
the
John Giddings talks about it being a year-round project now. He
Yeah.
starts
Oh,
more
absolutely.
than a year in advance.
Yeah. And as you can imagine, Council for the Arts, the budget was very low. Um, and in fact, it ended up. I ended up spending 3 grand on 11 acts,
Hmm.
and and Boy George was another £1,500, which was spent by the guy who ran Medina's council at that time. He put up that money.
So if we just, I'm
Yeah.
really interested in the music because
Yeah.
I've seen a lineup poster which I
Yes.
saw 6 months ago on Facebook,
Right.
and that was the first I'd ever heard of the festival. I don't think
Right.
Boy George was on that poster, but then I read
No,
somewhere
he
else that
wasn't.
he was there.
He was there. I mean, he was the guy who headed up the whole
Yeah, of
bill.
course. He was. I mean, he's
But
still a big name
it's
now,
an
but he was
interesting.
big then.
Yeah, there's well, the story behind George being there was that George had been involved with the Krishna movement, yeah,
Yeah.
and um, a friend of mine, John Richardson, who was the drummer with the Rubettes, he now carries the name Jai Dev, and he asked George if he'd come and play the festival. The Krishnas came. I had the whole. It was very 60s.
Mm.
The Krishnas were there chanting, and there were all sorts of people. I just headed for people who, via various routes, who had played there before. So we had people like Julie Felix, who promoted the whole thing, did loads of video, audio conversations about it and how she'd felt about doing this. Basically, the people who came really wanted to be there, and they wanted to be there because of the 60s festivals.
And did it was just a 1 day, is that right? It was just a 1 day
Just the
festival.
one day,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
how did it go well? I mean, was it a good
It was
atmosphere?
very well received by those people who came.
Yeah.
Sadly, I mean, it was what, £13, £13.50, I think, for
Yeah.
13 acts. Um, there was people, there were local bands, a local pair, Angelina and JC. Do you know them at
Yeah,
all?
I grew up in Carisbrooke, and regularly
Oh,
you would see at the Waverley a big sign out the front saying
yeah,
Friday night, JC and Angelina.
yeah, yeah. Well, they opened for me. Then John Richardson did a set from a musical that we were trying to get away. And then Third Ear Band came on. Now, the Third Ear Band, at the time, they were very high in Italy. They were doing really well in Italy. They were with Bronze originally, and they were a big, I consider them one of the best bands of the 60s. And they came down, they got paid £250,
Yeah.
right? And they paid for their own ferry across because
And
they
how
so wanted to do it. And I remember thinking, as soon as I heard them playing, I
yeah,
thought we've got a festival at
yeah,
last,
yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Um, there were other local people was Smiling Pete Hogman, who was, do you know about him at all?
No, no, I don't.
Okay. He worked at the prison. He worked with the Cat C people at the prison. He played harmonica on My Boy Lollipop.
Right.
Yeah. Um, and there was a guy who had been the original bassist in the Stones and with the Pink Fairies. Um, and you'll have to forgive me, senior moments, but I
Well,
can't remember
I've
the guy.
found this is the list of who was on the lineup that
One,
I found, and this is
yeah,
a sort of chance for you to say no, no, they weren't there, they dropped out. So, but
yeah.
audience, Pete
Now,
Granbury,
yeah, audience was Trevor Williams, who runs the Fox project. Have been very involved, probably guessed from doing Animal Line for Linda and Carla and Rita.
mm,
Very involved in animal issues.
yeah,
And Trevor Williams was the lead singer, amongst other things, with
right,
audience. And we talked, and he was going to put the band back together, but it never quite happened.
right.
So they never appeared.
See that because that one was I think was on the poster, and
It was
obviously
on
the
the
poster would
poster
be
because the
printed.
posters, yeah, were printed well before we got George as well.
Um, Captain Sensible was that with Boy George? It says
No, the
someone on
captain was
Facebook
a
said
very
Boy
good.
George and Captain Sensible performed.
Yes, um, I did a single with Ray Burns, the captain,
Yeah,
called "What No Meat" in '83, and we became good friends. And he used to visit me on the island,
right.
and I asked him, would he do something for the show, and he did. He turned up, played great guitar. He's such a good guitarist.
So it sounds like it went pretty well. You know, the numbers obviously were relatively small compared to where we are today. What
Well,
were you tempted to then carry it on, or was that it? You'd
oh
say that was,
no, no, it lost. It lost a lot. It lost money. I think it
yeah,
lost about 10 grand.
yeah.
Um, and the Council for the Arts didn't want to do it again. It was clear to me it wasn't going to draw large numbers because of the political situation we were in.
And but also, I think if we look at 2002, so that was a 2 week festival with Rock Island in the middle, and
Right,
that had the full backing of the Isle of Wight Council. And
right.
I think that year they made quite a big loss. I think
Did
from
they?
memory there was maybe 8, 10,000 people there.
Yeah,
And then I think it was the next year that John Giddings put in his own money and he made a big loss. And then it was the
right.
following year, the third year, I think was when David Bowie was there. And that was when it turned around and the loss on the first year, from what I would understand, is not uncommon for putting on a big event like that.
Yeah, but you've got to have the support.
Yeah, yeah,
And quite candidly, as 99% of the people, even with that message at Portsmouth Station on the board, 99% of the people were from the mainland.
really. So it wasn't supported particularly locally by local
No,
people.
not at all.
Whereas now you go to the Isle of Wight Festival now, the impression I get is that more than half the people there are islanders. I don't know the numbers, but
Yeah,
it's a big event for islanders, and a lot of people it's their sort of big social event of the year where they get together with some mates and they all join up, meet up together. I mean, I constantly see people that I was at school with. I see teachers
right.
everywhere.
Well, that's lovely. But I think some of the population of the island has changed. I've got a very good friend over in Freshwater, Paul Windridge, who I do books with, and very all around foxes. But he also designs all my other books, and he tells me it's got a lovely feel.
Yeah,
Now, I
yeah.
started out in freshwater, and I didn't get that feel at all. I felt much more comfortable in Ryde.
I'm a big fan of
Although,
freshwater.
sorry,
I'm a big fan of Freshwater Bay and all around the West Wight, certainly.
yeah, it's. But he's telling me that the population, the makeup of the population, lots more artists and lots going on. Really,
Well, that's the history of Freshwater, isn't it? Because obviously, around the time of Julia Margaret Cameron, you had a lot of
yeah,
artists coming over.
yeah, you did, yeah. Virginia Woolf wrote that play about it. Yeah, there were a lot of really, well, and of course, Tennyson was the big draw there as
Yeah,
well for them. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And have
it's a
you been?
lovely place. I love the island. I love
Yeah,
going back there. I love crossing that little bit of water from Lymington to
yeah,
Yarmouth. There's always lovely light on the water,
yeah.
and it's a great place.
I think that crossing in particular, this is an advert for Whiteling, but that crossing in particular is so pretty. It doesn't feel
Yes,
as sort of industrial as some of the other
yeah,
crossings.
yeah.
And
No, I
have,
lived with some friends up in Cranmore for a long time in a caravan there, and that was gorgeous. Possibly the happiest times of my life, I have to say.
it's incredibly quiet, that part of the island around
Mm,
Cranmore. I mean,
mm,
it feels like you're in another world almost. So some parts of the island feel like that. So you might be t 10 miles from TK Maxx in Newport, but it feels like you're middle of nowhere.
yeah.
And have you been to the revived festival, the more modern one?
No, no, I haven't. There was one year that a friend's daughter was collecting stuff afterwards to give out to homeless people and so that I was I was appalled at how much was left behind. It's such a profligacy. You know, uh, there were no end of tents and things.
Yeah.
I guess it's the audience that we were appealing to was very much in the nostalgia
Right.
part of it. We'll go through the listing in a minute and I'll tell you the various stories around it. But there were a lot of people who wanted to play, and I had to turn away because we had so many. And, playing for next to nothing, really.
Yeah.
Certainly in these days. Yeah, it was. So I guess the, the people on the island, for some reason, didn't much see the value of it all.
I think at the time, because I was getting into music when I was, I guess, about late 90s. There wasn't much of a there wasn't much chance to see live music on the island. We would go across to Portsmouth a lot, go to like, the Wedgwood rooms, or we'd go across to Southampton for gigs and things. But that was a big effort, particularly when we didn't drive.
Mm.
Um, I feel like the Isle of Wight's got a much more of a music scene, a cultural scene now than it had then. It's got strings in Newport, and
Yeah.
it's not that it's got the platform one. There's a lot of musicians and artists on the island, I think, compared to at that time.
Well, I of all I set something up in the 2000s and the early 2000s that wasn't based on the island, but I had always said to people, I felt per square mile at that stage the island had more talent
Okay,
than any other area.
yeah, yeah, it
Um,
certainly packs a lot in, but yeah,
yeah, but there's not a lot of places for people to go. Well, there are, but you're going to see the same people, I would imagine.
I suppose
Uh,
that's the risk. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, there's
Okay.
some great people there. Yeah,
So we've gone through quite a lot of the acts that were there, but the other ones that I've got on the list, and I must admit I don't know these names, but you can fill me in. Clear
yeah.
Blue Sky, Julie Felix, I think you mentioned, John Fielder, Groundhogs, Dick Taylor and Friends, the Pete Brown Group, Volca Cat. Do you remember any of those performances or any of them that that stood
Yeah,
out?
yeah. John Fielder was part of Medicine Head. He was one half of Medicine Head. Very nice man, really. In fact, everyone bar a couple were fine.
Yeah, we won't name the couple that
We're not
weren't.
going to name them. Clear Blue Sky were a bit left field because their real claim was that they were on Vertigo, but the leader of the group was a really charming individual. Um, uh, Julie Felix was very famous in the 60s.
Mm.
She had her own show. She was the partner of David Frost.
Oh,
And she
right.
actually said to me, because I have this nasal sound to my voice, um, once we spoke on the first time we spoke on the phone, she felt quite comfortable with me because it sounded a bit like David. Um, but she was lovely, very, very special. And as I say, she did a lot to promote us as well. How, I mean, one of the things that you're probably not aware of, but we had 2-page spreads, double-page spreads, just for free about this festival in Melody Maker.
Oh, right.
But yeah, it was a really big thing.
Well, Jeff, thanks very much for your time. It's good to fill in some of the many
Mm.
gaps around the festival. I'll do some
Yeah,
updating of our listings, and I'll try and put this onto YouTube or onto our site.